I hope you didn't think Ohio State was done scooping players from the transfer portal because Justin Fry went shopping and he found possibly a diamond in the rough in offensive tackle, Vic Cutler.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Thursday, January 19th in the year 2023, and I'd like to thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen or first watch of every single day. During this episode, we will discuss what Vic Cutler brings to the table as he joins Ohio State's offensive line room. And is this the year Ohio State's basketball team goes to the NIT? But before we get to any of that, Justin Fry went shopping in the portal, and he may have found a diamond in the rough in offensive tackle Vic Cutler. Vic Cutler is a transfer from Louisiana-Monroe. He's standing at 6'3", 302 pounds, and Ohio State has been shopping and looking and searching for an offensive lineman in the portal for quite a long time. They thought they had the Washington State left tackle. He ended up transferring to a different school. They had their eyes set, and they were going after different players around the country. They were unsuccessful. And ultimately, you go down to the G5 level, the group of five level, to get a really talented young man. And not saying this talented against players that are at the G5 level, but also talented against the upper echelon of the sport. Vic Cutler played against Alabama. What did he do? Allowed zero pressures in that game. So it's not just Ohio State going down to the G5 level. It's Ohio State getting somebody that can play the football at a very high clip. And I do believe that's what Ohio State needs right now. With the absence or the losses of Paris Johnson Jr., Luke Whippler, and Dawand Jones, that's both tackle positions and your center, you're trying to figure out, are the guys that are going to start, are they on your roster, or are they out there and on other teams in college football? You're trying to figure that thing out. And I firmly think bringing in Vic Cutler, it's different than bringing in Tristan Gebbia, the Oregon State transfer quarterback that recently transferred to Ohio State. Bringing in Vic Cutler, he has starting experience. I believe he started 21 games. He has played left tackle, center, and right tackle. So he has experience at the positions that you had guys leave your roster to go to the National Football League. And he can also play interior of the offensive line at either guard spot, where I think he's probably going to play in the interior of the O-line. He can potentially come in, fill a need where there's instantly. And Justin Fry knew if he could get this guy to come to Ohio State, this really talented young man, it's going to help guys like Donovan Jackson and Matt Jones and Josh Fryer and the other guys, Enoch Vabahi, Jacob James. It's going to help all these guys that are going to be at Ohio State. Because who says Vic Cutler comes in, plays up a level, and ultimately via spring practice, the offseason conditioning, the winter workouts, the training camp, fall camp, wants to say he's not going to earn a spot? I don't know. But this young man, based off what I have seen, he can win a spot. We'll discuss more about that in the very next segment. But at a position group that is vital, that is extremely important, and that does not get the attention that it deserves, you need a player of the caliber of Vic Cutler that says, hey, I want to go to Ohio State. I want to be coached by Justin Fry. I want to learn more about the football. I want to better myself at this craft. I want to do all of these things. You bring him here, he's not somebody coming in with a big head and says, oh, man, I got this in the bag. I don't need any coaching. No, he wants to be a sponge when it comes to him being coached. He wants to be somebody that gets better and better and better and better and better. And ultimately, I believe he probably wants to be somebody that has a shot to play in the National Football League on the offensive line. There's hard to find a better place to do that, to be trained at, than the Ohio State University. Seems like every single year, Ohio State is sending multiple guys to the draft on the offensive line. Now, last year, Dawand Jones could have come out. He decided to stay in school. I thought this year there were only going to be 2 players on the O-line that come out, not 3. Luke Whippler was the surprise. But in comes Mr. Vic Cutler. Is he going to be a center, guard, or a tackle? That's TBD, to be determined. But ultimately, I do believe that once he gets his feet wet, once he gets there in Columbus, once he learns the plays, once he learns what Justin Fry wants, once he learns what Brian Hartline and Ryan Day want as they lead the offense and run the team, ultimately, I think Vic Cutler is going to be A-okay. And I think and I hope his excitement in regards to being at Ohio State, I hope that continues. Because what he had to say about Justin Fry makes me believe he's going to be a sponge, and it makes me believe that he is excited about the opportunity to be coached by Justin Fry at The Ohio State University. A lot of this belief comes from this statement I'm going to read from you in regards to what Vic Cutler said about his new coach, Mr. Justin Fry. He said, quote, "He texted me almost every day, asking me what I want to do better to be a better football player. What do I think my flaws were in just his knowledge of the game? It's just something I've never heard before. Like I thought, being in college for 4 years, I think I know a pretty good bit about offensive line, but no, he just showed me I'm just scratching the surface. I want him to coach me the best version of me. And I feel like Ohio State will give me the best opportunity to get to the next level eventually," end quote. That's all he needed to say. I like what I read. I love the conversations that he had, just the snippets there that we got from that quote. And I do believe. I don't get excited about a lot of acquisitions. I know Tanner McAllister was coming in last year, and there was a need for someone. It was nice to have someone that knew Jim Knowles' defense that can help the other players. But I think Vic Cutler is a player that ultimately, over the next couple years, as he plays football at Ohio State football fans, you, myself, and other people that are fans of this team, that will grow to enjoy and love him playing football in the scarlet and gray. When he plays the football, there are a few things that you'll like. Some things he can work on, but that's things that everybody can work on. What are they? We will discuss that next right here on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from pro football to future college football bets, basketball. We've got it all at BetOnline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, we can even find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, hear from big-name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball is available on YouTube and wherever you get your fine podcasts. And standing at 6'3", little over 300 pounds, I believe I saw him listed at 302 pounds. You may say, Jay, he is an interior offensive lineman. And I will agree with you. With the way that Ohio State utilizes their players and the beef that they want, the extra beef, the big back beef that they want on the outside at the tackle positions, ultimately, I do think Vic Cutler is going to be more of an interior offensive lineman. And when I went back and watched the film, and I went back and watched him play the football, and I went back and watched some clips of him in pass pro, in run blocking, in a reach block, or getting to the second level, all of the things that you'll need to do at Ohio State, really as an offensive lineman. Every offensive lineman, I haven't met one that does not need to know how to pass protect. Now, you may say, Jay, Army, maybe Navy. Okay, those are rare occasions where you're running heavy run sets. Triple option, really, really, really heavy run sets. And even if you pass the ball 2 or 3 times, it can be out of play action to where your offensive linemen fire off the ball as if they're trying to show that it's going to be a run play. And ultimately, yeah, I can understand that. But most of your college football players that are O-linemen, they need to learn how to pass block because you're going to be pass blocking a lot, especially at Ohio State. So the pass blocking of Vic Cutler, got some clips on that I witnessed before recording this year's show. Saw him run block. I saw him do some reach blocking. I don't know if I saw him pull at all in the clips that I saw, which is something that's going to be very interesting. No matter if you're a guard, a center, a guard tackle, maybe even a center, you're probably going to pull at Ohio State. So I wonder how that is going to be with him. I have a guess about how I think it's going to be. We'll discuss that here in a second. But when it comes to Vic Cutler, two things that stood out to me with him there. His footwork was really good on every rep. Every play that I saw, his footwork was really good. From not just getting off the ball, but also once he met you and once the block was initiated, the footwork was, I won't say phenomenal. It's really tough for me to say he had phenomenal footwork, but it was way better, a whole lot better than I expected. And I realize it's not just something that I say, oh, I don't expect it to be that good because he's at a G5 school. No, that's not it at all. I don't discredit guys that are at that level to say, oh, they have bad footwork. Wrong. That is not how this guy operates. But you're an offensive lineman, man, and footwork is key. From quarterbacks who need to step through the ball and not throw off their back foot to receivers who need to make sure they get off the line properly. And if it's if the defenders on the outside, how to combat that. If it's face up, not shading right or left, how to combat that. If it's right foot up, how to do that. Left foot up, how to do that. That's just receivers. And I'm not a coach, but that's just receivers. You go to the defensive line, hey, baby, first 2 to 3 steps, those are key. If you have bad footwork in those first 2 to 3 steps, ultimately you could get beat every rep you're on the field. This is just the reality. So Vic Cutler's footwork being at the rate that it is, that's a great starting spot for Justin Fry. For Justin Fry to already say, hey, you could get better here, you could get better there, you could get better here, you could get better there. Like, oh, okay. And he's receiving it. He's receptive of the coaching that he's getting already prior to even being a Buckeye. That's a major selling point. And if I'm a youngster, offensive lineman, class of 2024, 2025, maybe even 2023, and I'm uncommitted, I would want to be coached by Justin Fry because something tells me the offensive line at Ohio State, they're all going to have impeccable footwork. They're all going to have impeccable hand placement. Now, you may overreach at times, and that may be something you struggle with because that's normal. But ultimately, his footwork was amazing. Also, upon contact, you felt him every time. And I saw guys at pass pro, even as he's dropped back, he's setting his feet, he's dropping back, Bob, once that first pop comes, once that first hit comes, baby, those guys, and they feel him. Another thing that I do believe Justin Fry saw, he said, oh, baby, we can work with this guy. Oh, yeah. We can work with this guy. And it also helps that he has film against Alabama. I do believe it was that left tackle in that game. I mentioned it in the last segment. He did have 0 pressures against Alabama when they played Louisiana-Monroe. That's great, man. That is great. So you got the footwork. You have the impact. You have the good the good hand placement and good pop on impact. And that was not just on run blocking, that's pass blocking as well. So both forms of the blocking on impact, you feel Mr. Vic Cutler. Ultimately, one thing, and I mentioned it earlier, this is a lot of guys, though. Like, there are times in pass pro, he gets overextended and the defender can beat him. That's normal. Ultimately, that is something that is, I won't say expected, but it kind of is. Really good tackles, guards, centers, they get overextended on plays. That's normal. But when I saw these young men, going back to the positive, when I saw him get off the line, double team, and work his way up to the second level and get to that backer, he got there. Yeah, the backer was able to get around him, but he got there quickly, and he wasn't like, hey, he had to take extra steps, 2 or 3 extra steps to get to his route, to get to from point A to point B. No, it was boom, move left, boom, hit the backer. I'm telling y'all, man. I'm telling y'all. Go find some clips of Vic Cutler. I'm not saying he's the best guy in the world. I'll never say that. I don't think that's even a wise thing to try to say or speculate. Ultimately, I do believe Vic Cutler is a good piece of the pie for Ohio State in 2023. I don't know where he plays. I don't even know if he starts. His starting experience, his ability on the football field, and ultimately him wanting to be coached by Justin Fry. I do think it's a great acquisition via the portal. Portal shopping, you got to be strategic. You gotta sometimes you're taking risk. You gotta be risky, but you have to be strategic. I don't believe this is a huge risk, but ultimately it is a risk. But ultimately, I do also believe this is a strategic move by Ryan Day, Brian Hartline, Justice Fry. That they are saying, hey, we can utilize that talent on our football team. Justin, do you want a guy like that? Can you utilize him? Absolutely. Well, how about we go out there and get him? Go get him, y'all. Let's go do it, and let's have some fun. Let's make magic on the football field with Vic Cutler on the team. Ultimately, I like it. I love it. And I hope the Buckeyes get a few more pieces to the pie, a few more portal acquisitions, maybe an O-lineman. I don't think the tight end, receivers, quarterback, you could probably bring in a quarterback. I think all the good ones that would start are gone. Secondary help, baby. Cornerback, get you a couple corners, get you a safety, get you a D lineman, maybe a couple. But you got to work. It's work. D line is not as important as the secondary. As the secondary needs help at the safety and quarterback positions. Go out there and get them. Be strategic. Take risk. But ultimately, go find guys that fit what you want in an Ohio State Buckeye football player. That's enough about Vic Cutler. Really good young man. Didn't know I was going to do 2 segments on him when he transferred, but here we are. That's the way the cookie crumbled. And the cookie might crumble in the way that might send the Ohio State basketball team to the NIT. We'll discuss what the NIT is, why I don't think they could, why they're playing a game that they could not make the NCAA tournament. We'll discuss all that next right here on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by Built Bar. Looking for a delicious treat, but don't want all the fat and calories? Then you got to try a Built Bar. We just got through the holidays, and I know my goal is to eat a little healthier this year. If you're like me, where you want to eat healthier, but don't want to compromise taste, then, man, I've got just the thing for you. You got to try Built. With Built, healthy is actually tasty. What makes Built Bar so good? Well, for starters, they are all covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. And they come in unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. I'm not sure how Built does it, but these bars taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros. And now you don't need to wait around to get a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering your Built Bars at Built.com. Now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today, walk to the pharmacy section, and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up a 4-bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puffs. If you're close to Sam's Club, run in and grab a 13-bar box with our hit flavors, brownie batter, and churro. You can thank me later. Sports betting, as we all know, and many of you are taking advantage of it, it is now legal in the state of Ohio. And Locked On has the perfect show to help new and seasoned gamblers. Download and subscribe to Locked On Bets for daily picks and analysis wherever you get your fine podcast. Did you watch Ohio State's basketball game last night? If you did not, you probably saved yourself a lot of time, possibly energy devoted to a team that is not playing good basketball right now. Many of you know that basketball is one of my favorite sports. When it comes to the football and the basketball, it's really up in the air. I love football. I even love basketball. It's hard to decide which one I love more. Right now it's basketball season, so I'm going to say basketball is the sport that I love, and I don't love watching this basketball team play basketball. I do not. That might be a harsh statement. That might be a little make you feel uneasy at times. This basketball team has way too much talent to be played the way that they are. 5-game losing streak. You just lost to Nebraska. You lost to Minnesota. You lost to Purdue. Not granted, their defense. Purdue's tough. But what do we have to say? What excuse could somebody use for the loss to Minnesota and the loss to Nebraska? Let it sink in. Think about it a little bit. Probably none. And I think that's where we're all going to summarize and set. Probably none. And if this trend keeps up, Ohio State's 5-game losing streak, they are currently 10-8 on the season. Their loss yesterday just got the Cornhuskers to be an above 500 basketball team, as Nebraska went into that game with a 9-9 record. Yeah, Ohio State has talent. Bryce Sensabaugh is a player that could be a one-and-done player. I hope I can see him transferring and going to a different school if he stays in college, because this might not be the fit. And also, you might have a new coach next year. We'll talk more about Chris Holtman's future at Ohio State maybe next week, depending on how the game goes on Saturday against Iowa. I think they're going to lose. But, hey, if they lose like I think they do, they lose next Tuesday to Illinois, if they lose a week from a Saturday to Indiana, we're going to be looking at a team that is below 500 and is going to be asking what in the world happened after the good start to the season. Yesterday in the game, Bryce Sensabaugh had 18 points. He was back in the starting lineup. Sean McNeil had 13. Zed Key had 11. He's back in the starting lineup as well. Key and Sensabaugh had double-doubles, as both of them had 10 rebounds. You would think Justice Suing, this was going to be his year. He only had 4 points yesterday. Not sure what's going on. The offense was weird. The offense was abysmal. The team was not in sync. They were not. I don't know if it was a mental block or what it is. Seemed like the Monstars tapped into Ohio State's basketball team and stole the talents from these players. Sensabaugh still be hooping, but a lot of these guys just don't get it. Bruce Thornton's a really good player. Isaac Likely, really good. Sean McNeil, really good. Zed Key continues to improve. Justice Suing can be solid, but is not solid consistently. The NCAA tournament has a field of 68 teams. If you are a conference tournament champion, you get an automatic bid, and all the other berths into the tournament are at-large bids. Ohio State, if they keep playing like this, they're going to be playing their way into the NIT, which is the second-rate tournament, the kind of the consolation prize for those that don't make the NCAA tournament. Now, there were 3 tournaments. I think the CBI, College Basketball Invitational, I think CBS Sports Network actually is the one that broadcast those games. I think that tournament went away. So you have now the NCAA tournament and the NIT. NIT, a great tournament. Great chance for you. I believe the tournament is still played. The Final Four of the championship is played at Madison Square Garden. Great opportunity. But from what I have seen, my gut tells me the Buckeyes might be in the NIT, and that ultimately might get Chris Holtman out the paint and no longer the head man in Columbus. Because this basketball team, I said it once, I'll say it again, They have too much talent to be 10-8. They have way too much talent to be 10-8. You got too much talent to be losing the games, close games, not just to these sad teams, but also to the teams that are better. You have too much talent. I wasn't worried early in the season when they lost to North Carolina, lost to Duke, lost to Purdue. I wasn't worried about those losses. But the loss to Nebraska, the loss to Minnesota, those losses concerned me. And Ohio State could be in the secondary postseason tournament in college basketball. Hey, they could realistically still win a trophy because it's a trophy that's awarded to the team that wins the NIT. But are they going to be a team that's actually capable of winning that right now? They keep playing like this. They are not that kind of team. But Chris Holtmann better figure things out, baby. Better figure things out quick. Because if not, I said it once, I'll say it again, I'll say it a few more times on this podcast. He might not be the head basketball coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. We're out here on a Thursday, one more day, planning on having a show tomorrow about Ryan Day. Why 2023 is an important year for him as the Ohio State football coach. We'll discuss more about that. Possibly have a guest to discuss this with us on tomorrow as we close out the week of shows. Guys, you can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. Send all of your emails to jstevens317 at gmail.com. We're out of here on a Thursday. Be back tomorrow. Hope you guys are handling this weather. If you're sick, like me still, take your vitamins, emergency, whatever. I'm not a doctor. But do what you got to do to get your body back, get healthy, get the sickness out of you so we can be Buckeye fans that know and can and always do cheer on our team loud and proud because it's always a great day to be a Buckeye.